everybody. Welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. Season 3 of NBC's Good Girls picks up with the women taking on seemingly innocent jobs, each with a special purpose to aid them in their new criminal enterprise. Joining me today to talk about all the twists and turns are Retta and Reno Wilson. Guys, welcome. I say twists and turns because I'm a big fan of the show, first of all. The show stresses me out so bad.
Good.
Like,
good.
So many, which is what makes it so great, obviously. But what is still fun for you guys about being on a show like this that just constantly makes people uncomfortable and keeps them guessing?
Random stuff like that scene. I read it, but then shooting it, I really felt the anxiety. I was like, because I know one of the girls. And I was like, oh, hey, girl, you topless in this scene? Okay, how you doing?
How about for you? What keeps it fun just being on a show like this?
Well, they've agreed to pay me for it.
That's a bonus, yeah.
Which is nice. No, but it's just everybody, from the top down. Jenna, the writer, the creator show, to the cast members. And all of my scenes are with Retta and our kids. And we just have, like, a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughing in between stuff.
It is so much fun to watch, too. Yeah. And, the season finale for last season, I just very naively thought, like, okay, we're good, Just, they're going to continue to, like, do illegal stuff, and there's no threat. Yeah. But we know Rio is still kicking. So what can you tease us? Maybe.
You know that?
Is he that?
Well, they sort of left it open. Yeah. So what can you tease us about the upcoming season and some of the conflict for our favorite trio?
We continue to have our little battle with, are we going to stay in the lane that we're used to?
Yeah, because at the end of last season, we had an agreement that Ruby would just put family first and
I
stop with
do.
the...
That's why she's doing this.
Have been the whole series.
The whole series?
Yeah, family first.
Family first. Okay, I get it. I guess.
That's how we got into this.
But at the end of season 2, it's family first, and then you would stop doing all that extra stuff, right? So do we continue with that in season 3, or?
What do you think? Have you seen the poster?
Right.
Looks like they're washing some money. Looks highly illegal. Yeah. You gave me nothing there. So I'm sure the network is very happy with that response. So congrats, Retta. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Let's talk about my favorite TV couple, Stan and Ruby, our relationship goals, I think, for so many people. And I think it's because in the beginning, we actually saw the reason why she was going down this path. And it was for family. It was for the little girl and her health bills. So do you think that is what helps keep characters connected to this crazy journey, is that it's rooted in just this loving relationship?
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people like the couple. Even though we have those issues, it's idyllic in a way that people want what we have, that true love. Even though we, veer out of the path that we originally planned, they still love each other. They still have each other's backs. When I read the script of when Stan throws the pen cap on the table, I was like,
Why?
I definitely was like, you got my back, though. Even though you salty, you got my back.
Yeah. No, that's what's really cool, when a couple, they agree to build a life together and they both actually show up for each other there, that makes people feel connected to that, and me personally, what connected me to doing this character in this role was that's, the most important thing to me in my life is my wife and my kids. And I've been married for, it's gonna be 22 years this year. And it's the first time I've ever played a father or a husband on TV. And to be able to express the way I feel about my family and my life via this relationship on television is really special,
And what kind of conversations do you guys have in just your on-screen dynamic? Because it is very loving. It feels so supportive. Was your chemistry just there from the beginning, or did you do anything to sort of work on that?
For me, we didn't really have a conversation about how we were going to do it.
We didn't even know each other until the table
we met at the table read. But I wanted it to look how I want my relationship to look. Like, if I had a husband and kids, and I wanted to be affectionate to my kids the way my mother is to me. My mother is obsessed with my father, and I feel that Jenna wrote, Ruby and Stan in the way that the way my mother loves my father, that I wanted to portray that love with, Ruby and Stan. So but I wanted it to be like that thing, where you don't have to finish, not necessarily finish sentences, but you don't have to really have the conversation to know what that person's thinking. Where, you know how with your best friend, you're in the room and somebody walks in and you're like, don't even say it, I know. And you're like, girl, why that turtleneck? You already know.
Why that turtleneck?
When somebody walks in, you see something, you're like,
why?
And you turn to your friend, and you're like, they're like,
I know.
Yeah, I wanted the marriage to have that thing. They just have it. They're just on that same wavelength, and they get it.
Yeah. Is it easy to fall into that thing with Retta?
Yeah, well, with Retta? Oh,
yeah, just because
100%.
I just feel like you guys must just like vibe in real life.
Yeah, we didn't know each other, and at the table read, she was sitting down, I was behind her, so I came up behind her, grabbed her from behind, and I kissed her on the neck and the cheek. And, Retta can appear reserved at first. You know what I mean? But I melted her on that one. I got her on that one. I said, we gonna get it, girl. And
no, I was like, who is this guy? I don't know him.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
And so I was anxious the whole time.
At the table read?
Yes, I was anxious. And I mean, I still, wanted to do a good job at the table read, but I was definitely like, I don't know you, bruh. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until the first day we worked together that I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. You guys have this great relationship on screen, but then you have the best friend, Beth, who's very much like the third person in the relationship, which is honestly the source of a lot of your conflict. And I love just the way that they frame it of like the Beyonce tickets and who would get them and who would get to go. So do we see that trio continue to have strife going forward?
The trio of the three of them?
Well, Beth just
the unseen person in our relationship.
Her sort of having to choose.
Right.
You know what?
Her loyalty.
That's a great question. And actually, this year we do deal with it a little bit on how Stan feels about you guys' relationship.
Right,
yeah, we deal with that.
Because he's got to have some feelings about that.
Because things go down. Yeah.
It's been, watching Stan's evolution has been really fun because you thought you knew who he was.
He was a security guard.
Yeah.
He became a police officer. That it was his lifelong dream.
Dream job.
Then became a disgraced police officer. Got put in jail, and got set up. Got out, and and then we start this season. He's working in a strip club, bouncing the strip. How far have we fallen? Yeah.
Or are we about to go up?
Right.
Right.
Glass half full.
Right.
Perhaps.
But we don't know because we're in the middle of the season, so we don't know what's gonna happen.
One of the saddest parts of last season was seeing him really ready to take on the responsibility for a lot of stuff that he really didn't have any part in. Yeah. And he seemed so upset when he was forced to leave the force. Do you feel like he was more upset over just like leaving that dream job or realizing that like the criminal justice system that he had this faith in wasn't really as admirable?
I think that was the thing that broke him up. He had these, really lofty ideas about this career. And, he has a real sense of good and evil, right and wrong. That's innate in him. And he's already dealing with that at home. Wrestling that within himself. And so to be pulled and arrested, and James LaShore, who plays Jimmy Turner, and on top of that, he's a brother. And, he's just disheartened by all of it. And it kind of breaks him subtly inside. And I think we see how that affects him a little bit more in season 3, because he's a good dude.
But like sometimes the best guys end up being bad. So I don't know.
It's for the family.
Is it?
And that's what Ruby tells herself, and I love it. But that's what Ruby tells herself.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was like, she's reluctant. She's maybe the most reluctant.
She still is.
But I was gonna say, do we see her getting more? Because Beth went off the deep end. Beth got real into the criminal.
Beth is all in. For Annie, it's all a fun ride, and for Ruby, it's like, all right. I know I still need to do this. I have to do it.
Gotta pay these bills.
Yeah, and as you see, the insurance issues don't stop. It's not fun for her. It doesn't get fun for her. At least not this season, or at least not
yet.
To the point where we've shot in this season. I don't know what's coming, but it's
not having fun.
Yeah, it's not a party for her. It's still work.
And because you bring up, there's some real issues that people are dealing with. Has that kind of changed the way you guys look at more petty crime? You know, like as far as people just maybe having to do what they got to do. I'm not talking about like murderers. You know, that's a whole different gamut. But
Is it? No.
is it?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's changed the way I feel about petty crimes. I mean, people do things for different reasons, and unless you know somebody's story, you can't really make a judgment. Even though we all do it, I know in passing you do it. Just you see visuals, you make an assumption, you keep moving.
Sure.
Until you spend a day. Someone told me you don't know a person until you've seen them cry, which it's not even necessarily, to me it was more metaphorical in that you can't assume things about people. You've never seen them vulnerable. You don't know what the things that they're going through to put them in the state that you saw them. Because I'm like I have road rage. I'm like I can't stand, and I literally have to tell myself maybe he's rushing to a hospital. Like I get so angry, and then I'm like, relax. You don't know what's going on in that car.
Empathy.
And it's not about you. He doesn't even know you. He didn't cut you off because it's you. It's because of whatever it is he's doing. So I now try to do that thing where I'm like, don't get so mad. Let
Breathe.
Okay, it's fine.
Breathe.
It. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it all, so many things come down to empathy, and I think that's an issue that we're dealing with just in the world, in this country. People have a hard time seeing themselves in other people. So in terms of looking at criminals and, the crimes that people do, I grew up in a neighborhood where, I saw all kinds of stuff happening. But I think this show does make you think twice about, why people do the things that they do.
Speaking of crying, Retta, I feel like I tear up every time you cry. Have you seen how she cries on TV? It's always just
She's the best in the business.
mid-sentence and then just the welling and then the heavy tears. And do you cry when she cries?
Yes. Sometimes I do. But Brittany, what you don't know is that Retta can control the tear ducts in each eye. She can. It's like wherever the camera is, it's like where you need that tear to come down. You need the right one. Oh, you over here? Okay.
I just know how to squeeze it just enough so one will fall and the other doesn't.
Like, who does that? Who knows how to? And it's not fake. It's real.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
you could.
it comes from here.
I get emotional looking at because I can't.
There's a lot
access
going
it.
on in here.
Yeah. It's just,
But I bring that up to remind people. But this is a very dramatic show. It's so. This is kind of my favorite genre where it's obviously very funny. There's a lot of comedic talent.
Yeah.
But the drama's very real. And how fun is it to have a show where you get to really play and go back and forth?
It's my favorite thing. I love being able to do both. I love that it can turn very fast, because we had a scene where we're like having a good time, we're laughing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, where'd you get that? Like,
right, it stopped.
and then the whole thing changes, and then somebody storms off. I like being able to, because that's how life can be. Things can turn on a dime. But I really appreciate it in this show being able to flex, the drama and the comedy, and hopefully it's seamless. You know what I mean?
And it all feels grounded. We say because we've both done, big comedies or maybe broader comedies. So it's always like we could do a version of a scene where it's like super big, but we're like, no, we want to keep it, grounded. That's the fun part about it.
On that note, you mentioned the set is really fun. So who's the funniest person on set?
The funniest person.
Danny Boyd Jr.
Danny
Really?
Boyd Jr.
Why?
100%. Because he's 9, and he is so he's mature and 9 at the same time, and the things that come out of, you know what I mean?
It's really funny.
He said we were. He said we were. We were at the family table, the dining room table.
I know what you're gonna say.
And that was the other day. But before he said that, we were at the table doing a scene, and he wanted a glass of water in the scene. But I didn't have time in the scene to pour him the glass of water. So after every take, he'd be like, "Why are you not pouring me any water?" I said, "Because he yells cut before." So we do it the last take of the scene, and I pour water in his glass. He goes, "Jesus, come through." stuff like that comes
really
out.
funny.
What was your story? This kid sounds amazing.
Oh,
He,
right.
because Reno calls everybody baby.
Yeah, I
And
do.
It's just,
I do.
It's just the way he talks.
What's up,
And
baby?
he's like, baby, what's up? He goes,
What do you need, baby?
I'm not a baby. And he was like, okay, Danny, thank you.
Yeah. What would you like, young man? He goes, yeah.
That's amazing. I have to keep a lookout for this kid. He sounds hilarious.
He's
He's amazing. He's also in Watchmen.
He
I don't know
works
if you've
more
seen
than all
Watchmen.
of us.
Yeah. He plays young Louis Gossett in Watchmen. Yeah, Regina King's grandfather. Yeah.
So before we go to audience questions, I just always ask generally, like, what are you most looking forward to in 2020? We've got a new year. It's still January.
20.
What are you looking forward to, Retta?
My new pool. I'm having some yard work done, and I'm getting my pool redone. I'm hoping.
I'm sorry, that was such a Donna answer.
That pool, though.
I love that. And how about you?
2020, I'm just looking forward to a shift energetically in the country. You know, I'm looking for some good positive vibes overall. I think the last couple of years, this energy of like division has been out in the world, and I'm looking forward to a change in that we go the complete opposite direction, however that would.
I'm still looking forward to my pool.
Because
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
real change is a pool.
I mean, it's important.
You can't change your backyard more than that. Well, we just had Susan Miller, the astrologist, here, and she was very hopeful that this was going to be a good year. Yeah, she read my entire chart. I'll tell you about it. It was great. Oh, wow. We do have a couple questions before we get out of here. Who has our first one? Right there.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, want to apologize for the turtleneck.
Turtleneck.
Secondly, I wanted to say, since you do so well committing crimes on screen, do you think that you would get away with it off screen?
No, I'm the biggest scaredy cat. No, absolutely not. I couldn't. I'm the last person you want to tell. I don't. I thought I was good at hiding my feelings.
You think you had a poker face?
I thought I had a poker face, and then one day I had 2 roommates when I first moved to LA, and the one roommate was notorious for asking a myriad of questions. She would fire questions, and I would be like, "Why are you asking so many questions?" But I thought I was good at being like. And then I remember my other roommate. It happened so often, and I was like, oh God. I mean, one day I'm just gonna. And my friend was like, we all know. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, girl, we see everything on your face. And I thought I was good at being like, and I wasn't. You could see the stank.
Thank you.
I would be the worst criminal. Like, I remember shopping at the supermarket with my mother when I was a kid, and you know, they used to have the candy all out in the bins, like the little caramels or whatever, and we'd walk by, she'd be like, then pass one to me. And I'd be like, you know that's stealing. She's like, that's tasting. Have the grape.
Your mom's like, be cool.
Take a
kid.
grape.
My kid's a narc.
Yeah.
And one more.
This is actually from my friend Dina. I met her on Twitter, but she couldn't be here today. And she was wondering if we can expect any more like threats to the girls' friendship this season that's as heavy as it was last season.
I feel like, you know how when you're good friends with people, you tend to have your moments where you fall out because you're so connected emotionally and you know how to, click their buttons, the right buttons and such. And that's what I do like about the friendships portrayed is the moments where we can have the ups and downs. That was one of my favorite things of like Sex and the City, when Carrie and Miranda would get into it, or they would fight because it's real. Like, you have real fights. I remember, and I hate fights with my really good friends, but I know that I still love them and that we're gonna come back around. It's the ones that don't come back around that I was like, oh, that wasn't meant to be. But if you can have a good fight, a real head to head where you cry, you walk away, and then you're like, girl, that's my bad. That's a good friendship. I like that.
I love last season how they really gave us the backstory for Beth and Ruby, and that it pulls you in even more. You're like, okay, Ruby's gonna end up doing the right thing, hopefully. But I don't know, man. She's getting pushed to a point where I'd be like, you know what? I don't need no friends. I'm good.
It's tough. But I feel like I feel like we're a little more cohesive because there's a lot more on the outside that we have to stick together for this season. I feel like there's moments like we get really tense shooting. We get tension headaches and stuff because we're always scared and always whatever. And we start the season off like we're all excited, good, and then it just gets real fast. And I just remember this one day we were shooting. I was like, I need a drink just from shooting because we were so tense in the scenes. Yeah.
And if that doesn't make you want to watch this show, then you're dead inside. I love this show. It keeps me fully engaged through the first 2 seasons. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with this one. We are going to have to wait a little bit. Next season comes out February 16th on NBC. But in the meantime, you can go on Netflix and catch up. That's what I did recently.
Gotta catch up.
It's worth the ride. Thank you guys for joining us. Put your hands together for Retta and Reno Wilson.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.